Okay, good evening. Once again, I'm Coach Shard. Uh, I'm handling biology and physical sciences for Let Review. So, for tonight's session, we are going to talk about, um, for this series, biomolecules and cell biology. So, ito yung pinagsama ko kasi mas magkalapit yung topic nito. Because the building blocks of your cell, or particularly your organelles, would be the four biomolecules. The same process pa rin, we would have questions and then we would rationalize the items. So we'll go with item 21. So this is a continuation of our series. So first question, what are the four most abundant elements found in living matter? So you have four options: nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and carbon. You have hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Letter C, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon, and sulfur. And letter D, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, and phosphorus. Can you type in your answer? Okay, very good. So as our answer would be based on this infographic. So lagi lang nating tatandaan yung term na lechon. Okay? Lechon. Okay, di ba? Ito yung favorite natin kapag handaan. So we have carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen as the major components of your biomolecules. At meron pa dyan, kasi papasok dyan ang protein. So there's one element that is distinctive to protein, that is your sulfur. Kasi ang sulfur, makikita mo siya sa two amino acids, your methionine and cysteine. And then your DNA, okay, your DNA would have phosphorus kasi ang phosphorus ay present sa nucleotide natin. Kasi 'di ba, your nucleotide or nucleic acid is a polymer of uh, nitrogenous bases and sugar with phosphodiester bond. So, nandun yung phosphorus. Okay? So, our answer for this item would be correct. It should be letter B. Hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen. Bear in mind that in the recent licensure exam, minsan tinatanong yung kung ilan yung most abundant or possibly ilan yung or ano yung third most abundant. So, we should be familiar with their arrangement. Siguro ano na lang, familiarity na lang with the amount. So you have 60 to 65% oxygen, 19% for carbon, around 10% for hydrogen, at ang remaining 3.5 would be for nitrogen kasi marami tayong protein sa cells. And then we have 3.5 for other chemical elements like your sulfur, phosphorus, and minerals. Okay, so let's proceed with item number 22. Of the four elements out of the 105 known elements that comprise 98% of living matter, the highest percentage or 63% is blank. So is it hydrogen, carbon, nitrogen, or oxygen? Okay, very good. It's oxygen. Okay, so bear in mind also that in the actual licensure exam, you might also be asked kung alin naman ang most abundant compound. So we'll go with the next item. So 23. Among inorganic compounds, what is the universal solvent in which other substance can be dissolved? Is it protein, fats, mineral solids, or water? Okay, very good. The correct answer is water. Okay, so gaano ba karami yung water sa cell? Okay, let's have a picture from nature. Okay, roughly 70% of a cell would be water. Tapos yung remaining 30%, ang tawag mo dito ay dry matter. So, pag sinabi mong dry matter, ito yung mga non-water component. At ang pinakamarami ay ang protein. Kasi siya yung tinatawag na workhorse of the cell. So majority of the chemical reactions, chemical processes, like entry of nutrients inside the cell are facilitated by your protein. Susunod dito yung mga small metabolites and RNA. RNA is your blueprint for protein synthesis. At itong 70% water na to, common din siya sa human body natin. So roughly you are 70% water. Okay, so there are four properties of water. So please remember them kasi in the actual licensure exam, umiikot lang yung mga tanong dito. Number one is cohesion and adhesion. Ano ba to? These properties would contribute to high surface tension of water. So tatanungin kayo, what is surface tension? Basically, 'di ba kapag meron kang tubig, baso, pag pinuno mo 'yan ng tubig, 'di ba hindi pa siya magpo-flow, magiging parang round siya sa edges. So kasi yung water, iiwasan niya mag-interact with air molecules. So that is air surface tension. At common na makikita to kapag naglagay ka ng needle o kaya toothpick o kaya mga water strider na insect, they can float on water. Aside from Jesus who can walk in water, right? The water strider can walk on water. And then anong pinagkaiba ng cohesion and adhesion? Kasi tinatanong to sa chem, okay? Basta tatandaan natin, 'di ba pag adhesives, anong ginagawa pag adhesives? We try to connect to unlike things, right? Like yung paper mo at another material, pag didikitin mo, you use glue as adhesives. From the name itself, different material. So, pag adhesion, okay? So, different molecules ang pinagsama-sama niya. At ang cohesion naman ay like molecules. Best example nito ay pag halimbawa may table ka at may mas sprinkle ng water dyan, in due time, makikita mo na yung tubig na isang droplet na lang siya, right? Have you encountered that? Can you react if na-encounter nyo sa bahay? Right? Di ba? Like, basa yung mesa, then after some time, isang droplet na lang siya ng tubig. That is due to cohesion kasi magko-connect yung mga like water molecules. Ano ang impact nito sa buhay? Okay? Dahil dito, okay, yung mga water molecules, attracted sila with another water molecules. And then, it was able to move upwards yung tubig. At alam natin na ang tubig ay needed for photosynthesis. And since plants can photosynthesize with reagents of water and carbon dioxide and energy of sunlight, okay, it can provide food for living things, particularly the consumers. Next, high specific heat. At dahil to sa hydrogen bonding, dahil sa hydrogen bonding ng water, mas mahirapan siya mag-evaporate. So, anong purpose nito sa life? So, nahirapan siyang or mas matagal na uminit yung isang living thing. So, imagine mo, di ba, pag halimbawa mabilis yung mababa yung heat capacity ng water, paglabas natin sa outside world, di ba? I mean, sa labas ng bahay, baka kumukulo na tayo. So, we were able to maintain our homeostasis kasi mataas yung heat capacity ng water. At pangatlo ay water is a universal solvent, meaning majority of the chemicals can be dissolved in water except for non-polar or we call hydrophobic molecules, example of which would be lipids. So tinatanong din yun sa LET. If carbohydrates are hydrophilic, what are hydrophobic? Ang sagot nyo dapat doon ay lipids. Kapag walang nakita ng lipids, yung mga example ng lipids like waxes, okay, oil, etc. Okay? So majority kasi ng reaction sa cell, the one that would produce energy, would occur in the cytoplasm. Anong meron sa cytoplasm? Meron siya tinatawag na cytosol. Ito yung sabaw ng cell. So yung sabaw ng cell is an aqueous environment. So water siya. So dapat yung mga chemicals or nutrients na tinitake in ng cell should be soluble in water para mas mag-interact yung protein sa kanya at makatalyze siya into energy or other metabolites needed by the cell. And last but not the least is lower density of ice. Bakit yon? Remember, kunwari ito yung ilog. Okay? So kung ba may mga isda dyan, forgive me, I'm not an artist, okay? I'm just a chemist, okay? So kunwari imagine na natin na isda yan. So pag may mga halaman dyan at nagyelo sa ilalim, mamamatay yung buhay sa ilalim. Okay? Mag-freeze sila eh. Okay? So hindi sila mag-photosynthesis. It can prolong life, it can preserve, but honestly, mamamatay talaga sila kasi, di ba, try mo yung isda, di ba, pag frozen siya, namamatay siya, di ba? So going back to this one, pero kapag may system ka na dito siya nagyayelo, remember, ang heat ay, saan pumupunta? Okay? From hot to cold siya. Okay? So kung malamig ito at malamig din yung hangin, hindi nalalabas yung init doon. Magsaserve siya as blanket, as insulator. So napoprotect yung water dito as liquid water siya. So yung mga isda natin, pwede pa rin lumangoy. At any other plants or let's say mga algae that can photosynthesize. So basically, the lower density of ice as compared to liquid water protect the life during freezing. And those properties, including the cohesion, adhesion, high specific heat, and universal solvent or dissolving property of water support life. Okay? So next, let's answer item number 24. Okay, so we're done with water. We'll go now with functional groups. Okay, which of the following are true about functional groups? Okay, so letter A, specific combination of bonded atoms that has consistent chemical properties. Next would be they are usually non-polar. Letter C, does not affect the reactivity of organic molecule to which they are attached to. And letter D, particular function can react varied form. Okay, please type in your answers. Okay, very good. It should be letter A. Ano ba itong mga functional groups na to? Remember, in organic chem, may tinatawag tayong terms na hydrocarbon. Okay? So pag sinabi mong hydrocarbon, ito lang yung CH group. So tatlo lang to. Ito yung may single bond, ito yung may double bond, at triple bond. Single bond is alkane, double bond is alkene, triple bond is alkyne. So ang laging common example dito ay si methane. Okay? Ang next example dito ay si ethylene gas. Okay? Next dito naman ay um, si acetylene or ethyne. Okay? So ito yung kadalasan lumalabas sa let. At dapat familiar kayo sa mga formula nila. Like this one, CnH2n plus 2. You have for a double bond, yung alkene natin, CnH2n lang. And then you have CnH2n minus 2. Kasi may tinatanong sa board exam na what if ganito daw yung number of carbons mo? Ilan ang hydrogen na pwede? So dapat familiar kayo sa mga generic formula ng hydrocarbon natin. Ngayon, ito mga hydrocarbon na to, meron possibly sila nakasamang ibang atoms. They can be bonded to another group. Like it can be halogen, it can be hydroxyl group, okay? Or ROR, okay? So sa boards, makita nyo minsan ano ba RCH, okay? Or OH, okay? Rather ROH pala dapat. Tagal natin RCH. So ito, ibig sabihin to alcohol to, hydrocarbon yung R, okay? So you have thiol, you have amine, okay? It can be primary, secondary, tertiary, at ito yung mga lumalabas sa boards. Alcohols, okay? Carboxylic acids, esters, and amide. Okay? In the recent boards, lumabas itong mga to. So titingnan nyo lang, kapag may carbonyl carbon ka na attached with an amino group, that's an amide. If you have a carbonyl carbon attached to hydroxyl group, ang tawag din ay carboxylic acid. At usually, yung mga carboxylic acid, ito yung component ng mga fatty acids. At dahil may hydroxyl group sila, most likely, polar sila. Okay? So tatandaan natin yung organic molecules or functional groups can be polar or non-polar depending kung kaya niyang mag-hydrogen bond. So sa carboxylic acid, meron siyang OH that can form hydrogen bond. So polar siya. Pero tandaan natin, pag yung R group mo sobrang haba na, nawawala or mas tumataas yung non-polarity character niya. Okay? So basically, kung titignan natin yung option dito, okay? They're usually non-polar, mali agad to. Okay? Next would be, okay? So, meron kang OH dito, may SH ka dito, may NH2 ka dito, at may COOH ka dito. Okay? Tapos dito naman, C double bond OO, tapos may isa pang R group dito. So, esters, kadalasan mababango to, flavoring sila or perfume. So, anong pinapoint out dito? They have a specific type of bonds. Therefore, they would react or they would behave at the same time or not at the same time, at the same characteristic. So if this one would react with water or it would react with, let's say, alcohol again, like esterification, so most likely, kapag may nakita carboxylic acid at alcohol, esterification yung reaction niya. Hindi siya mag-attach somewhere. Okay? So, consistent yung chemical and physical properties nila. The way they would react would be consistent. Okay? So tama yung sagot natin na specific combination of bonded atoms that has consistent chemical properties. Okay? So we're done with functional groups. Let's go now with this item. So what was the first inorganic compound synthesized in the laboratory resulting from boiling a solution of ammonium cyanate? Is it urea, methane, sodium, ammonia? Okay, please type in your answers. Okay, So, originally kasi, ang definition ng organic chemistry or organic compound ay, okay, anything na may carbon. Okay? Carbon-containing compound which came from living things. Ito yung first definition ng Okay? First definition ng organic compounds. Okay? So, as time goes by, syempre napalitan siya. Bakit? Okay? So, it was Friedrich Wöhler. Okay? Siya yung nag-synthesize ng urea from ammonium cyanate, debunking the what? The term vitalism. Ano yung sinasabi ng vitalism? Na sinasabi niya na yung mga organic compound, nanggagaling lang sila sa living things. They do not came from non-living things. But this was debunked by Friedrich Wöhler, a German chemist. At siya yung tinatawag na father of organic chem. Okay? So, tinanong din to sa in the recent boards, who is the father of organic chem? It's Friedrich Wöhler. Kasi he was the first one who was able to prove that organic compounds can be synthesized from non-living things. Okay? So our best answer here would be urea. But in some questions in the boards, ang question naman ay, which of the following is an example of organic compound? At kapag may nakita kayong methane or CH4, that is the best answer. Okay? Ano yung mga carbon-containing compounds na inorganic? Example po niyan ay yung mga carbonate, okay? Yung mga cyanide, okay? Yung carbon dioxide at saka carbon monoxide. Ito yung mga carbon-containing compounds that are not classified as organic. Saan ba nanggagaling ang urea? Okay? So ang urea, pag na-metabolize yung protein natin sa katawan, nagiging amino acid kasi ito pag na-absorb ng katawan. At we cannot store amino acids sa katawan natin kasi toxic yung ammonia. So ang gagawin ni cell ay ipaprocess niya sa mitochondria, particularly sa liver cells. At through urea cycle, okay, yung amino group ng amino acids would be part of the urea. Okay? So ang urea kasi is ganyan ang structure niya. Okay? It contains two amino group. Okay? Two amino groups. So that's why ang ano natin sa katawan natin para matanggal ang excess ammonia would be through urea synthesis. And it was Friedrich Wöhler was able to synthesize it from inorganic sources. Okay? Next, let's answer item number 26. Which of the following is possible due to the surface tension of water? Okay? So letter A, the pH remains neutral. Letter B, water can act as a solvent. Letter C, a water strider can walk across a small pond. And letter D, lakes don't freeze solid in the winter despite low temperature. Okay, please type in your answers. Okay, so sabi niya surface tension. Okay, so sabi natin kanina, due to hydrogen bonding, there's a high surface tension of water. Okay, so ito yung sa surface niya, pwede ka maglagay ng needle o kaya toothpick. At yung mga water strider natin, pwede silang maglakad. So the best answer here should be letter C. A water strider can walk across a small pond. So if you would be asked also again in the licensure exam, ano ang reason bakit mataas ang surface tension or high specific heat ng water? Ang sasagot natin ay hydrogen bonding. At isa pa ay kapag tinanong kayo sa licensure exam ng what is a type of a special bond? Okay, a polar bond. Okay? Uh, Actually, hydrogen bonding is not a intramolecular bond like your covalent and ionic. Okay, it's an intermolecular force. Okay, that would interact with like something na may hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen. Okay, they can form hydrogen bond. Okay, so pag tinanong kayo sa boards, ano yung special type of bond? Ang best answer doon would be hydrogen bond. Okay, so let's proceed with item 27. Okay, so muscles are composed of carbohydrates, proteins, vitamins, fats. So ganitong level yung mga questions sa recent boards ha. So you can really answer them. Okay? So muscles are what? So Balik tayo sa four biomolecules. Okay? So there are four biomolecules. You have proteins, you have carbohydrates, you have lipids, and nucleic acids. So tatanda lang natin sa nucleic acids, ito yung genetic material natin. Okay? It can be DNA or RNA. Ang DNA, ito yung nag-store ng genetic information natin. Ang RNA, siya yung blueprint or command that would produce your protein. Tapos, ang carbohydrates naman, ito yung fuel source natin. Tandaan natin na yung brain natin and other cells, majority of them, except the heart, okay, uses glucose as fuel source. At it can be part of your cell wall of your plant cell, okay, like your cellulose, at yung sa chitin naman, okay? So structural support siya, chitin sa fungal cells at saka crustaceans. But majority of them ay fuel source, okay? Para pagsalet naman, tinanong kayo, what is the best fuel storage, okay? So kapag fuel stores ang sinasabi or tinatanong sa let, ang best answer dyan ay lipids. Okay? So magkaiba yun na fuel source ay carbohydrates. Fuel stores or storage would be lipids. Kasi puro hydrocarbon to. So mas madali siyang itago sa adipocytes natin. Okay? At marami pang function ang lipids. They can be part of your okay? Membrane, yung cell membrane natin, gawa sa phospholipid yon. Yung vitamin D natin, gawa yan sa cholesterol. Yung bile acid natin, gawa sa cholesterol. Yung mga steroid hormones natin, like your estrogen, mineralocorticoid, glucocorticoid, okay? Uh, most of them are made of cholesterol, which are lipid, okay? At sa proteins naman natin, they are part of the muscles, like your collagen, okay? Myosin, actin and myosin. Okay? Sa buhok natin, may keratin tayo. Okay? Tapos, they can be antibodies or they can be part of your RBCs, like your hemoglobin. Okay? So, ang isa pa dyan ay can be enzymes. So, maraming trabaho yung enzymes yung protein natin sa cell. Okay? So, balik tayo dun sa question natin. Question number 7. So, muscles are composed of, the best answer here should be letter P, proteins. Okay? Kapag tinanong kayo sa ang protein, it should be actin and myosin. That's the contractile proteins of your muscles. Okay? So balik ulit tayo sa biomolecules. Ano yung mga component niya? Okay? So your carbohydrates are your sugar. So we call them saccharides. Okay? Saccharides. So pag yung mga saccharides pinagsama-sama natin, okay, you would form your disaccharide and polysaccharide. So dapat familiar kayo sa mga example like glycogen, starch, at saka cellulose and chitin. Okay? Yung mga disaccharides naman natin, madadali lang. Yung maltose, okay, sucrose, and uh, lactose. So madali lang tandaan naman sila. So tatlo ang common na monosaccharide. You have glucose, you have galactose, and you have the last one would be the fructose. So ganyan lang yung shortcut natin, okay? Para madaling tandaan. So glucose, galactose, and fructose. So sa disaccharides natin, ang mga common ay maltose, you have sucrose, and lactose. So, paano natin tatandaan itong mga to, yung combination? Kasi tinatanong to sa boards, okay? Ang technique lang dyan ay, tandaan natin na itong tatlong given na disaccharide, glucose lahat ng kapartner. So, yung kapartner na lang i-memorize natin. So, you have glucose plus glucose, maltose, glucose plus fructose would be sucrose, and glucose plus galactose, your milk sugar, okay, would be your lactose. So those are your disaccharides. But in reality, marami pang disaccharides na nasa nature natin, like cellulose, etc. Okay? Your fatty acids naman would form your lipids. Okay? At may isa pa dito kasama yung cholesterol. Kasi magkaiba yung structure yung dalawang yan. Okay? Next would be your amino acids. So your amino acids are your building blocks of proteins, while your nucleotides are the building blocks of nucleic acids. And remember that your carbohydrates are your fuel source. Okay? And then your fatty acids are your fuel stores. Okay? Your proteins are your workhorse of the cell. Okay? At yung nucleic acid naman natin ay genetic info. So dito lang naman umiikot yung tanong sa specialization. So maraming tinatanong sa biomolecule. So it would be nice for you to be familiar with their functions and examples. So let's have three more questions in biomolecules. Okay. So item number 28. Okay. So of the following, which will you identify as the main source of energy that comes from plants in the form of sugar and starch and functions as one of the structural components of living cells? Is it fats? Are these proteins, vitamins, or carbohydrates? Can you type in your answer? Okay. Okay, let me see. Okay, the best answer here should be letter carbohydrates. Next item, number 29. Molecules that contain organisms' genetic makeup is called cytosol, nucleic acid, nucleolus, genetic membrane. Okay? So ang best answer dito would be nucleic acid. Okay, letter B. Particularly your DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay? Next item, number 30. Okay? True of enzymes. An enzyme needs to change its size in order to accommodate a chemical reaction. Letter B, a substance that acted on by an enzyme is called a product. Letter C, the induced fit model explains the binding between two enzymes to form a product. Letter D, proteins that decrease the amount of energy needed for a chemical reaction to occur. Okay, please type in your answers for item 30. Okay? So let's have a quick review of enzymes. Ano ba yung mga enzymes? Enzymes are proteins. Okay? Remember that. So they speed up the reactions by lowering the activation energy. So remember that enzymes are catalysts that lower the or speed up the reaction by lowering the activation energy. Okay? So we also have other catalysts. Ito yung mga mga metal catalysts, but these enzymes are protein biocatalysts. Okay? So they act specifically on substrate or similar molecules. Like kapag hexosugar siya, so it can act on fructose, galactose, or glucose. Okay? Ang maltase, example, very specific siya. So from the main cell, maltase, so maltose lang ang pwede niyang i-cut. Ang sucrase, it can only cut sucrose. Okay, so we have two models of enzyme activity. So we have lock and key and induced fit. So titingnan natin dyan ay ito yung enzyme mo kunwari. Yung kung saan nag-attach yung molecule natin, ang tawag natin doon ay active site. Okay, so remember those term. Yung reactant natin, okay, like this one, sorry, ito pala yung reactant natin. Okay, so wait, let me see. Okay, so this is your reactant. Okay. So itong mag-attach sa active site, ang tawag mo dito ay substrate. Yung mapoform after the catalysis, ang tawag mo dito ay product. Okay? Saan papasok yung dalawang model? Okay? Remember, ito yung shape ng reactant natin. Kapag ang sinasabi niya ay dapat same yung shape ng uh, substrate at saka yung active site mo, most likely lock and key yan. So it would require complementarity of the reactant or substrate and the active site. So complementarity. But in reality kasi, what if yung ano ba circular yung ano natin, yung reactant natin tapos yung magiging product triangular. So mag-iiba na yung shape niya, malalak yung ano natin, yung enzyme. In reality, okay, your enzyme can do conformational change. Okay? Ano itong tinatawag na conformational change? Example, ito yung enzyme natin, ganyan yung shape niya. At meron siyang substrate na square. Okay? Yung enzyme natin nun, magbabago yung shape niya para i-accommodate yung substrate natin. That is conformational change. Magbabago ng shape to accommodate that substrate. So that is your induced fit. So there would be conformational change to accommodate your substrate. So balik tayo dito sa question. Which of the following is true of enzymes? So sabi niya, an enzyme needs to change its size in order to accommodate a chemical reaction. Mali na agad to. Kasi ang nagbabago ay yung shape ng active site based on the lock and key model. Second, the substance acted upon by the enzyme is called product. No. Ang product ay yung result. So the answer here should be substrate. Okay, so mali ulit ang option B. Okay, next, the induced fit model explains binding between two enzymes to form a product. Parehas sila nagbabind, pero paano? 'Di ba? So sinasabi ng induced fit, dapat magkaroon ng change in conformation. Tama? Eh wala siyang sinabing change in conformation. So, mali na to. Next, punta tayo sa option D. Pag ganyan, pag alam mong mali na yung tatlo, ang best answer na yung hindi natin na X. So, bakit tama yung letter D? Sabi niya, decrease the amount of energy. Ano ba tong energy nito? Ito yung tinatawag na activation energy. And that's the definition of a catalyst or biocatalyst. Okay? So, the best answer here should be letter D. Protein that decrease the amount of energy needed for a chemical reaction to occur. Okay? So speaking of which, enzymes are proteins. There are other enzymes, okay? Or other proteins rather. At may structure sila. So tandaan natin to kasi tinatanong to sa boards. Okay? Kapag yung linear sequence ng amino acids lang, ang tawag mo doon ay primary. Primary linear sequence of amino acids. Kapag may binanggit ng alpha helix, beta sheets, at random coil, okay? Random coil lang ang tawag pero hindi siya randomly nagfo-fold. Random coil lang siya kasi hindi siya nagfo-fold between alpha helix at saka beta plated sheets or beta threads. Okay? So secondary structure yon. Tertiary naman kapag may 3D shape na siya. At kadalasan para ang enzyme mag-work siya, dapat may 3D structure siya. Majority of the enzymes have 3D structure or proteins to act or to be bioactive, biologically active. Tinanong kayo. So dapat may tertiary structure siya. But not all enzymes can have quaternary. Ang quaternary ay, yung minsan yung, let's say, hemoglobin natin sa protein, yung hemoglobin natin, tetradimer siya. Ibig sabihin, may dalawang part siya na magkatulad. Dalawang alpha and dalawang beta. Hindi nyo naman kailangan i-memorize. So I am just explaining it para mag-gets nyo bakit may mga hierarchy ng structure. Okay? So enzymes would act kapag, or proteins would act if may tertiary structure na sila. Okay? Kasi synonymous yung tertiary and their function. Okay? So meron siyang subunits na tinatawag. Pag may subunits or polypeptide chain, kasi yun yung key term na ginamit sa LET polypeptide chains, like your hemoglobin, meron na siyang quaternary structure. At doon siya mag-a-act. Like your hemoglobin, may 4 siyang subunits at kaya niya mag-carry ng 4 na oxygen molecule. Okay? So, bear in mind that not all proteins have quaternary structure to have their or to be biologically active or biologically functional. Okay? Next, ito lumabas din to sa recent let. Okay? There are 3 types of proteins. Okay? You have fibrous, ibig sabihin mukhang tali or rope-like yung structure niya. You have globular, ito circular yung shape niya at ang best examples nito ay enzymes, antibodies, okay? At yung hemoglobin natin. Okay? Those are globular. Ibig sabihin, bilog ang shape nila. Ang fibrous, kadalasan, structural yung function nila. Anong example nito? Collagen, okay? Keratin, yan, mga structural protein sila or fibrous protein. At may tinatawag tayo yung conjugated protein. Tandaan natin, yung protein natin, minsan may kasama siyang other component. Example of which would be lipids, it can be also DNA or RNA, or it can be carbohydrates. Kaya may term na, di ba, if you have encountered it in your study, lipoprotein, proteoglycan. Okay? Minsan kapag nauna yung pangalan, like lipoprotein, ibig sabihin, okay, secondary component yung lipids. Mas marami yung protein. Pero kapag sinabi yung proteolipids, mas marami yung lipids kesa sa protein. Okay? So, yun yung tinatawag na conjugated. At minsan, may kasama silang metal ions. Okay? At this, like your globular proteins can be found on your lipids, your phospholipids rather, yung cell membrane natin. Okay? So, yung mga proteins na makita sa cell membrane, ang tawag sa kanila ay membrane proteins. Okay? May question kasi sa board exam last time. Ang tanong ay, which of the following is not a type of protein? At makikita nyo doon yung fibrous, globular, at saka membrane. Ang sagot doon ay, I think, spiral. Kasi walang spiral protein. Okay? So, those are your protein or types of proteins based on their shape and function. Okay? So, we're done with biomolecules. We go now with cell biology. So what's our first question in cell biology? What is true about cell theory? So cells come from pre-existing cells. Cell membrane dictates the data needed for protection. Okay. Letter C, some organisms are not composed of cells. Letter D, cytoplasm regulates what gets in and out of the cells. Okay, please type in your answer. Okay, and thank you for your answers. Balik tayo sa cell theory. Para mas madali nyo tandaan, may mnemonics tayo dito. So, ang mnemonics natin ay ABC. All living organisms are made of cells. Natandaan natin yan. Kaya yung virus, it's not classified as living thing kasi acellular siya. Wala siyang cell. Pangalawa, the basic unit of life is cell. At letter C, cells arise only from pre-existing cells. Ibig sabihin, walang parang putok sa buho. Ibig sabihin, bigla lang siya lumabas. So, dapat manggaling siya sa mismong cell. Okay? Para mag-form siya ng new cells. Okay? So, ABC, cell theory. All living organisms are made up of cells. Letter B, basic unit of life is cell. And letter C, cells arise only from pre-existing cells. Okay? At may isa pa ditong pinapasok yung ibang references, yung letter D. Okay? Ang sinasabi ng letter D ay DNA is the genetic material of the cell. But other references would just be focused on ABC. Okay? So sagutan natin ulit yung question number 31. So, alin dyan? Okay. Ito, letter A. Cells come from pre-existing cells. So this one is true. Diba? Pasok siya doon sa ABC. Tapos, cell membrane dictates the data needed. False ito. Okay, some organisms are not composed of cells. Di ba sabi natin, all living organisms are made up of cells. So, mali ito. At hindi cytoplasm ang nagre-regulate actually. It's the cell membrane, not the cytoplasm. Pero sabi ko nga, ABC lang yung cell theory. All living things are made up of cells. Basic unit of life is cell. Tapos, cells come from pre-existing cells. So ang papasok lang dito ay letter A. So the best answer here should be letter A. Cells come from pre-existing cells. Next item, 32. Okay, we go with the two types of cells, eukaryotic and prokaryotic. So let's see the question. Okay, which of the following differentiates a eukaryote from a prokaryote? So a eukaryote has a mitochondria and a prokaryote does not. Okay. Letter B, a prokaryote has no cell membrane and prokaryote has. Letter C, eukaryote are too small compared to prokaryote. Okay. Letter D, a eukaryote has no nucleus and a prokaryote has. Okay. Please type in your answer for item 32. Okay? Please don't be shy with your answers. We'll correct them naman. Okay? Let's see, ano bang meron sa prokaryotic at saka eukaryotic cell? So let's differentiate the two. Lagi nating tatandaan na from the name itself, prokaryotic at saka eukaryotic kasi karyo, ibig sabihin nucleus. Okay? So tatandaan natin dyan ay dapat kapag prokaryote, wala siyang true nucleus. Ang eukaryote, meron siyang true nucleus at may membrane-bound organelle siya, like mitochondria. Walang membrane-bound ang mga prokaryote. Next would be yung type of cells, unicellular pag prokaryote, unicellular or multicellular ang eukaryote. Okay? Ang prokaryote naman, ang DNA niya circular siya. Sa eukaryote, may packing siya at linear siya. At it can be diploid or haploid. Anong difference ng dalawa? Kapag sinabi mong diploid, like your somatic cells, ibig sabihin, naka-pair siya. So like us, 23 pairs. So 46 chromosomes. Kapag haploid naman, ibig sabihin, mag-isa siya. Like 23 chromosomes. Like your sex cells. Okay? And then, pag reproduction ng prokaryote, kadalasan binary fission. Ibig sabihin, ito yung cell, okay, magpaparami lang siya ng laman, tapos maghihiwalay silang dalawa. So binary fission yon. Kapag eukaryotic, it can be mitosis or meiosis, depende kung somatic cell siya, mitosis, meiosis naman ay sex cells or gametes, like your pollen grain, your sperm cell, egg cell. Okay? Next question would be from pwedeng tanong sa inyo, ano yung mga examples ng prokaryote at saka eukaryote? So dapat medyo familiar tayo with them. So kapag prokaryote, archaea and bacteria. Kapag eukaryote naman, apat na kingdom lang yan. Ang protista, kadalasan sa kanila ay unicellular. Ang fungi, it can be unicellular or multicellular. Ang plants and animals ay multicellular. So dapat familiar din tayo kung alin ang mga multicellular at unicellular eukaryotic organisms. Okay? So we have differentiated the types of cells. So balik tayo ulit dito. Okay? So letter A is the best answer. Kasi ang mitochondria ay membrane-bound organelle. So membrane-bound organelle to. Ang eukaryote meron siya, ang prokaryote wala. Okay? Eukaryote has no cell mali. Para sila may cell membrane. Okay? Eukaryote, mas malaki siya kumpara sa prokaryote. At ang eukaryote, may nucleus siya. So, kasi mali ang statement na to. Dapat has nucleus. Wala itong no. At ang prokaryote naman has not or has non-nucleus. Okay? So, let's proceed with yung yung visual representation ng prokaryotic at saka eukaryotic cells. So, tingnan natin itong drawing na to. Okay? This was taken from a book. So this is your eukaryotic cell and then this is this is your prokaryotic cell, yung nasa taas. Okay? And then this is your eukaryotic cell. So may apat na component siya. You have plasma membrane or cell membrane, you have DNA, you have some have nucleus. Yung DNA natin makikita sa nucleoid kapag prokaryotic. Kapag sa eukaryotic naman sa nucleus. And then may cytoplasm tayo at may nakatago tayong mga ribosomes dyan. Pwede siya nasa endoplasmic reticulum, like your rough endoplasmic reticulum, or ano lang sila, libad-libad lang sila, nakakalat sila. Okay? So, cell membrane, ito yung barrier. Cytoplasm, anything inside the cell except the nucleus. Okay? So, magkaiba ang cytoplasm and cytosol. Ang cytoplasm, ito yung anything inside the cell except the nucleus. Ang cytosol ay yung liquid component of the cytoplasm. We have the ribosomes, your protein machinery, and your DNA as your genetic material. Okay? So your control unit would be your nucleus, nasa gitna. Okay? Tapos baka itanong sa inyo ano yung mga function ng ibang organelles. So may makita kang chloroplast dito, may Golgi bodies, meron kang endoplasmic reticulum. Later on, we would see as we compare plant cells and animal cells. So let's answer this one muna. Okay. What is the control center of the cell? Is it the nucleus, nucleolus, chromosome, chromatin? Okay, please type in your answer. Okay, very good. It's the nucleus. Ang question ay, ano yung nucleolus? Okay? Remember that ribosomes can form, particularly your ribosomal RNA, ang kanyang mga RNA natin, saan nagpo-form yung mga ribosomes? Sa nucleolus. Okay? So, tandaan natin na saan nag-assemble yung ribosomes natin sa nucleolus. Okay? Next, let's differentiate plant cell and animal cell. Okay? Titingnan lang muna natin yung tsura nila. Okay? So, kapag animal cell, round siya. Kapag plant cell, rectangular or square siya. At tandaan natin yung mga parts na present sa kanila. Tandaan natin, parehas silang may mitochondria. Tinatanong to sa boards, ah. Alin daw sa mga ito ang may mitochondria? Ang sagot doon ay animal cell and plant cell. Okay? Ang wala sa plant ay, okay, let's see. Okay. Uh, Wala siyang peroxisomes, okay? Wala din siyang centrioles, okay? Yung mga centrosomes natin, okay? Ang meron sa plant cell na wala sa animal cell, tanda natin chloroplast, plastids. Saan ba present ang chloroplast? Chloroplast is present for or the organelle for photosynthesis. Eh di ba ang animal cell heterotrophic siya. So kailangan niya ng plants para kumain. Ang plant cells, ang plants naman ay producer sila. Therefore, kailangan nila ng organelle to produce food and they use chloroplast. Saan sila kumukuha ng energy? Sa sun. Okay? Paano nila nakukuha yon? May chlorophyll ang chloroplast. Pwede din yung mga amyloplast at saka plastids. Okay? So they have pigments that can capture sunlight. At malaki yung vacuole ng plant cell. May vacuole din ang animal cell. Maliit lang. Ano bang laman ng vacuole? Tandaan natin, ang vacuole para siyang storage tank. So, pag storage tank, tagatago ng nutrients at saka water. Okay? Ang lysosomes, taga-digest siya ng nutrients. And sometimes, garbage bag siya. Okay? So, ang peroxisomes, nagme-metabolize ng lipids. Okay? Ang mitochondria, powerhouse of the cell. Kasi dito yung cellular respiration. Okay? And then, di ba, pag nag-order tayo ng parcel, meron tayong tinatawag na Shenzhen, di ba? Kapag Shopee. Okay, may Shenzhen sorting hub din ang mga plant and animal cell. And that is done by your season siya dito. Wala siya. Okay. That is your, ayun, nakita ko na. Golgi apparatus or Golgi bodies. Kapag halimbawa, nakagawa na ng protein si ribosomes at lalabas yung protein na yon, pupunta muna siya sa ER muna kapag may gagawin pang post-translational modification at kapag lalabas siya sa cell, itatransport siya, pupunta siya sa Golgi apparatus. Ito yung tagapak at dito itatag niya. O ito, pupunta sa cell membrane. Ito, pupunta outside of the cell. So para siya yung Shenzhen sorting hub ng cell natin. Yung Golgi apparatus or Golgi bodies. At sa plant cell, may extra layer siya ng protection or barrier. We call that one cell wall made of cellulose. Ito tinatanong to sa boards. Okay, ano daw yung wala sa cell? Okay? Sa plants, meron sa plant cell pero wala sa animal cell. Ang best answers would be chloroplast, okay, amyloplast, plastids, and cell wall. Okay? So let's answer this item. Okay? So punta na tayo sa cellular processes, tapos na tayo sa mga cell parts. What is the process through which the body obtains energy from glucose and oxygen? Is it circulation, lipolysis, glycolysis, digestion? Okay? Okay, very good. The answer is glycolysis. Ano ba yung glycolysis? So may mga term tayong dapat kabisaduhin. Okay? First, ang pwede niyong tandaan ay kapag tinanong kayo, what are all the biochemical reactions inside the cell, ang sasagot niyo ay cell metabolism. Basta may nakita kayong biochemical reactions. Ano yung component niya? Catabolism and anabolism. Ano ang catabolism? Kapag may kinain kang macronutrients, i-breakdown niya to produce energy. Ay, tandaan natin to, ah. Breakdown of nutrients, catabolism to produce energy. So, yun yung major product niya. Ano ang anabolism? Kunwari ang katawan kasi natin, kapag kumain ka ng protein, like collagen, okay? Hindi yan ma-absorb ng katawan natin as collagen, di ba? May mga sinasabi, collagen to, but actually, those are dipeptide collagen lang. Hindi talaga sila collagen. So, ang gagawin niyan, i-breakdown niya into amino acids. Okay? Pero di ba kailangan natin ng collagen mismo sa katawan? Kailangan natin ng proteins made up of amino acids. Kailangan natin ng keratin para sa buhok. Ang gagawin ni cell ay ipoproduce niya yung protein na yon. So, paano niya ipoproduce? Pagsasama-samahin niya yung amino acids para maging protein sila. You call that process anabolism or building up. Okay? So, tandaan natin, catabolism is breaking down, building up is anabolism. Next, speaking of catabolism, dito papasok yung mag-produce ng energy. So ano yung mga stages ng catabolism? Una, digestion. I-breakdown yung nutrients na kinain natin as fatty acids, glucose, at saka amino acids. Yung nucleotide or yung DNA na nakakain natin, some of them can be metabolized into energy, but majority of them can end up as what? As uric acid, particularly your purine nucleotide. Okay? Hindi sila masyado na-integrate sa cell. It's a bit complicated, but basically, hindi siya masyado na-integrate as, ba, pag may kinain ka nucleotide, magiging part siya ng DNA. Hindi ganoon. May process siya. So, tandaan na lang natin yung tatlo. Yung fats, carbs, and lipids. So, madadigest sila. So, magiging component sila. Etong carbs and lipids, carbs and amino acid, yung glucose at saka amino acid, dadalhin niya ng blood natin. Itong fats, dadalhin siya ng lacteals or lymphatic system. So pag pumasok na siya sa cell, i-metabolize siya to become acetyl-CoA. Okay? And then yung acetyl-CoA na to, papasok siya ng citric acid cycle at yung tinatawag na ETC. Okay? Or these are part of your cellular respiration. Ito tinatanong to sa boards. Ano yung cellular respiration? Tatandaan natin sa cellular respiration ay the breakdown of glucose to produce ATP in the presence of oxygen. So kailangan natin ng oxygen para ma-fully digest, ma-fully metabolize yung glucose. Dalawang parts yung papasukan niya, sa cytoplasm at saka mitochondrion. Dito natin makikita na bakit powerhouse of the cell ang mitochondrion. Una, yung glucose mo gagawin niyang pyruvate. From 6 carbon, magiging 3 carbon siya. Okay? So, ang process doon ay glycolysis. Ano to? 10 reactions to. So, kailangan mo ng dalawang ATP, magkakaroon ka ng 4 ATP at saka dalawang NADH. So, pag tinanong kayo sa LET, ano yung product ng glycolysis? Ang sagot nyo dapat ay dalawang pyruvate at apat na ATP or dalawa net. Net 2 kasi gumamit ka ng dalawa at dalawang NADH. Next, hindi mo kailangan ng oxygen gas sa glycolysis. Yung pyruvate na yun, papasok siya sa ano natin, sa mitochondrion. Okay? Ipaprocess siya to become acetyl-CoA. Actually, yung oxygen gas, hindi siya dito papasok. Papasok dapat yan sa ETC. So sa Krebs cycle, yung pyruvate mo gagawin niya dalawang acetyl-CoA at yung acetyl-CoA mo magiging carbon dioxide siya, itong mga reduced coenzymes, NAD and FADH2 at ATP. At itong dalawang tong reduced coenzymes na to, papasok siya ng electron transport chain to produce around 34 ATPs. So kung pagtitingnan mo, pag in-add mo at lahat to, 4 plus 2, okay? And then you have 34, that's around 40 minus, okay? Minus 2 kasi ginamit na natin. Sorry, so that's around 38. So 36 to 38 ATP siya na po-produce ng cellular respiration. Saan ang majority ng ATP? Sa electron transport chain. So tandaan natin na majority of the ATPs are produced on the ETC or electron transport chain. Okay? Or we call the process chemiosmosis. Chemiosmosis or oxidative phosphorylation. Okay? Pag wala yung mga term na to, okay? Pag wala yung ETC, ito yung mapwede natin pagpilian. Okay? Ito, old reference to. In the actual board, in reality, pag magtuturo tayo, 32 to 34 lang. Pero sa actual boards, ito yung gamitin natin. Kasi in the previous question, I think hindi ginamit yung new references. So, focus tayo sa 36 and 38. But when we're teaching cellular respiration, it should be 32 to 34. Okay? So next, tandaan natin, yung pyruvate dito, may tatlo siyang pwedeng puntahan. Okay? By the way, tandaan natin yung oxygen. Ang oxygen ay, pag tinanong kayo sa boards, final electron acceptor siya. So ito tinatanong dito sa boards. Ano daw ang final electron acceptor? Ang sagot natin ay oxygen gas. Yung pyruvate natin, in reality, tatlo yung pwede niyang puntahan. Okay? Number one, pwede siya maging acetyl-CoA kapag meron kang oxygen gas. You call this one aerobic condition. Ibig sabihin, sufficient yung oxygen gas natin. Pero what if, okay? What if sobrang bilis natin kumilos? Kailan nangyayari yon? Pag nag-exercise tayo, masyado tayong mabilis gumalaw. So, insufficient yung oxygen gas natin, nagiging anaerobic yung condition. Ibig sabihin, masyadong mababa yung oxygen gas. kailangan natin ng ano, ng NAD plus sa glycolysis. So, ang gagawin ng mga muscles natin ay yung pyruvate, i-convert niya ng lactate. So, you call this one lactate fermentation. At nangyayari to dahil walang oxygen gas sa cell. Kailangan mo ng NAD plus. So, pag nag-accumulate to sa muscle natin, nagkakaroon ng cramps. So, pag tinanong kayo sa boards, ano yung reason ng cramping ng muscles? That is due to the accumulation of lactate or lactic acid. At may mga organism like your yeast or lactic acid bacteria, okay, that can ferment, okay, your your pyruvate to ethanol. So dapat walang oxygen gas to, anaerobic to. Kasi kapag nagpe-ferment kayo tapos mahangin yung setup niyo ng fermentation, instead na maka-form kayo ng ethanol, acetic acid yung na-form natin. So, from pyruvate nagiging ethanol. So tandaan natin na pyruvate can become acetyl-CoA during aerobic condition, can be lactate during anaerobic condition, and can also become ethanol for yeast and other fermenting bacteria. Okay? So let's answer item 35. Okay? We're almost done. Okay? Please bear with me. Okay? So number 35. Which stage of cellular respiration produces the most ATP when glucose is completely oxidized to carbon dioxide and water? Is it the Krebs cycle, the transition stage, the oxidative phosphorylation, or the glycolysis? Okay, very good. The answer is letter C. Okay, oxidative phosphorylation. But the best answer here should be ETC. Okay, next, let's answer item 36. Which of the following is true of photosynthesis? It is a type of redox reaction. Letter B, oxygen and water combine to form carbohydrates. Letter C, carbon dioxide is oxidized to form fructose. Letter D, water gains a hydrogen atom forming carbon dioxide. Okay, let's have a quick review of what is photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a redox reaction. Basically, it would have a reduction of certain nutrients and oxidation of certain nutrients. Okay? So it is composed of light-dependent reactions. Ito yung pag-produce ng ATP at paggamit ng sunlight at light-independent reactions. Ito yung gumagawa ka ng glucose. Okay? It occurs on the chloroplast. So tandaan natin na yung chloroplast natin, dalawa yung component niya. So meron siya tinatawag na thylakoid. Dito nagkakaroon talaga ng photopart. Okay? Ang synthesis, na-form siya sa stroma. There was a question before in the board, saan daw nangyayari ang photosynthesis at wala ang chloroplast? The best answer there should be thylakoid. But actually, thylakoid is just part of the chloroplast. So yung light reaction, basically, papasok yung water, i-oxidize niya si oxygen. Okay? So, mapoform ang oxygen gas. Kaya pag tinanong kayo sa board, saan galing ang oxygen gas ng photosynthesis? Ang sagot niya dapat ay water, hindi sa carbon dioxide. Kasi ang carbon dioxide, papasok siya sa Calvin cycle or your light independent reactions. Okay? So, dito na nagkakaroon ng synthesis part na yung carbon dioxide mo, papasok siya to become your rubisco, okay? Your ribulose 6-phosphate, okay? To become your sugar or glucose. Tandaan natin yun ha. It's a redox reaction. Okay? It occurs in your thylakoid and stroma of the chloroplast. So, pag tinanong naman kayo sino yung nagka-capture ng sunlight, it should be the chlorophyll pig. So, yun. So, balik tayo sa question. Okay? Which of the following is true about photosynthesis? Ang best answer dito should be letter A. It's a redox reaction. So ano ba yung reaction niya? You have 6 carbon dioxide plus 6 water, okay? Plus your UV light, producing your 1 glucose, C6H12O6, and your 6 oxygen gas. Ito ang major product, ito ang byproduct. Kasi tinatanong din to sa LET. Ano daw ang byproduct is oxygen gas. Ang major product, starch or glucose. Oxygen and water combine to produce carbohydrates. Hindi. Ang nagko-combine ay carbon dioxide. And syempre, iba yung na-form ng water. Ito yung nagpo-produce ng oxygen gas. Okay? Next, let's proceed with item number 37. What is the function of the light reactions? To obtain carbon dioxide, to regenerate RUBP, okay? Your Rubisco, okay? Your ribulose biphosphate. And then you have to make carbohydrates, or letter D, to convert light energy into a usable form of chemical energy. Very good. The best answer here should be letter D. Okay, let's have a quick recap. So your photo is your light reaction, your synthesis is your light independent reactions. Dito na form ang carbohydrates. We call it Calvin-Benson cycle. Let's proceed with item 38. What is the movement of a substance across a biological membrane against its concentration gradient with the help of energy input? Okay, what's your answer? Okay. So dito, we have actually two types of transport. You have passive transport, you have active transport. Bear in mind that hindi nakadepende sa size ng molecule ang pagpasok niya sa inside the cell. It depends on non-polarity. Remember that your lipid, your cell membrane is made of phospholipids. So, mas pinifavor niya yung mga non-polar molecules like your oxygen gas, carbon dioxide, steroid hormones, or other lipids. Yung mga water molecule, pwedeng pumasok, pero kadalasan may aquaphorins na tinatawag. Ano tong aquaphorins? Okay? They can be channel, okay, or they can be transport protein. So, tagadala talaga sila ng molecule. At yung mga may mga charges, like your ions, di sila basta-basta pumapasok. Kailangan nila ng transporter. So particularly your ions would need energy to get inside the cell. So you call that one active transport. Passive transport, they can diffuse inside the cell, diffusion, or they can use channel proteins or transport protein. You call this one facilitated diffusion. At ang ano naman, ang active transport may carrier protein siya at kailangan niya ng energy input. So balik tayo dun sa question. Sabi niya doon sa question ay entry of substance, movement of a substance against concentration gradient and energy input. So let's correct our answer. Kasi may keyword tayo dito na energy input. Okay, what's your answer now? Okay, so the best answer here should be letter C, active transport. Coach, ano tong osmosis? Ang tatandaan natin, ang osmosis ay movement ng water. Saan siya mag-move? From low concentration, okay, to high concentration. So lagi niyo tatandaan na yung water molecule, nagmo-move siya kung saan mataas yung concentration. Halimbawa, you have, ito dito ay 2 molar, sa labas ay 3 molar. So yung water mo lalabas siya. Kasi mas concentrated sa labas. Okay? So let's have an application of this, yung osmosis. Pero ano ba yung exocytosis? Ang exocytosis ay, ito yung uh, movement outside of certain nutrients, palabas. Kapag papasok, endocytosis naman. So, tandaan natin na kapag cell eating or drinking, endocytosis yun. Pero kapag you move nutrients out from inside the cell to outside, exocytosis yun. Okay? So punta tayo sa osmosis. Ano ba nangyayari sa osmosis? So tandaan natin to, so yung cell natin, pwede tayo magkaroon ng hypotonic solution, isotonic at saka hypertonic. Okay? So ano yung difference ng dalawa? Kapag hypotonic, concentrated sa loob yung concentration, mataas. Kapag mababa naman sa labas. Kapag hypertonic, okay, sa labas, mataas yung concentration, sa loob, mababa. So sabi ko sa inyo, wait lang. Yeah, tama. Okay? So, ang water, pumapasok siya kung saan concentrated. So, pag pumasok ang tubig inside the cell, maglalay siya. Pero, Dahil sa plant cell wall, nagkakaroon ng turgor pressure. Hindi nagbo-burst ang plant cell. Nagiging turgid lang siya. Okay? So, okay. So remember that in osmosis, okay, ulitin natin, from low concentration to high concentration. So punta tayo sa hypertonic solution. Ano bang meron sa hypertonic solution? Sabi ko kanina, mataas yung concentration sa labas, mababa sa loob. So yung tubig natin, lalabas siya. It would get outside the cell. So pag nabawasan ng tubig to, mag-shrink siya or shriveled or plasmolyze. So, shrink or decrease in size kapag hypertonic. Kapag isotonic, basta may nakita kayong term na iso, ibig sabihin equal or constant. So, kapag constant yung concentration mo, may lalabas na tubig at may papasok na cell. So, na-maintain yung equilibrium. So, walang mangyayari sa cell. Ma-maintain yung size niya at saka shape. Okay? So, let's summarize. In hypotonic solution, animal cell will lyse and burst. Plant cell will become turgid. In hypertonic solution, your plant cell and animal cell will shrink in size. So let's next we go with cell division. So may dalawang cell division tayo. Meiosis and mitosis. So let's have this question muna. Okay? So second to the last question. Which of the following statements about meiosis is true? So letter A, it allows organism to repair tissue. Letter B, it allows organism to grow. Letter C, it allows organisms to reproduce asexually. Letter D, it allows organisms to promote genetic diversity. So please type in your answer. Okay? So punta tayo sa cell cycle muna. Ano ba meron nangyayari sa cell cycle? Ang tandaan natin, ang cell cycle ay series of events siya wherein the cell will prepare muna kung magdi-divide siya o hindi. Ano yung mga kailangan niyang gawin? First, growth phase. Ibig sabihin, mag-accumulate siya ng nutrients. Second, S phase or synthesis. Dito na duplicate yung chromosomes, yung DNA natin. At yung G2 naman, second growth phase, ibig sabihin nito, preparatory phase ba? Ready ba siya? Okay? Na mag-divide. Yung replicate mong DNA, walang masyadong mutation. Kung may mutation siya, mag-a-arrest siya at G2. Ibig sabihin, hindi na siya mag-divide. Otherwise, kapag ready yung cell natin, papasok siya ng cell division. It can be mitosis or meiosis. Okay? And then afterwards, kapag nag-divide siya, ang tawag doon ay cytokinesis. Ano yung mga kailangan yung tandaan sa cytokinesis? Kapag nagkaroon siya ng cell plate, ang nagdi-divide dito ay plant cell. Tinatanong to sa boards. Okay? Kapag nagkaroon ng cleavage furrow, ang nagdi-divide dito ay animal cells. So ito yung mga evidences na nagdi-divide yung cell. Okay? So ano bang meron sa mitosis at saka meiosis? Okay? Ang mitosis, tandaan natin sa somatic cells to. So halimbawa, na-injure yung cell natin. So pag magkakaroon ng tissue repair, okay, or mag-grow yung cell natin, yung laman, di ba? Nag-grow tayo kapag from infant to childhood, right? There's a rapid growth. Or kapag yung nagde-develop yung baby, there's a rapid growth. So kailangan mag-divide ng cell. So kapag somatic cell, mitosis yun. Pero kapag mga sex gametes or sex cells, meiosis yun. At ito, isa lang to. Tatanda lang natin yung PMAT. Ang meiosis, may meiosis 1 siya at saka may meiosis 2. Okay? So next would be prophase 1. Ano yung prophase 1? Basically, you would have sister chromatids. Mawawala na yung nucleus dito. Mag-disintegrate siya. So, then kapag nagpunta sa gitna from middle, ang keyword natin doon, metaphase to. This is the best phase of the cell to study chromosomes. So if you would be asked in the licensure exam, when is the best time to study chromosomes? Ang sagot nyo dapat ay metaphase stage. Next, kapag anaphase, kapag papunta na sa poles, yung nag-separate na sila. Pag nag-separate na yung sister chromatids, okay, and nagpupunta na sila sa poles, you call that one anaphase and telophase. And then, kapag nag-divide na sila, you call that one cytokinesis. So you have two diploid cells. Ibig sabihin, one cell, it would form two diploid cells. Ibig sabihin, 23 pairs to kapag human cells ito. Ang sex gametes naman, okay, so mangyayari dyan ay, okay, mag-start muna siya ng duplicate. And then magdi-divide siya into 2. 2n, 2n. Then afterwards, magdi-divide to ulit. You would have haploid na. At nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na crossing over. Ano itong crossing over na to? Yung mga parent chromatids natin, okay, yung parent chromosomes, pwede sila mag-interchange ng certain portion of them. Kaya nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na genetic diversity. So pag tinanong kayo sa boards, which of the following will not result to genetic diversity? Ang best answer doon ay mitosis. Kasi hindi nagbabago yung genetic makeup. So sa sperm cells, tandaan natin na kapag nag-divide siya, magpo-form siya ng mature na sperm cells. Pero si egg cells, tandaan natin na isa lang yung magiging mature egg cells. Yung tatlo, magiging silang polar bodies. Ano tong polar bodies na to? Ito yung mga immature egg cells, tapos ma-absorb lang ng cell or ng body. Okay? So balik tayo sa question na to. Okay? Which of the following statements about meiosis is true? Repair tissue, mitosis to. Hindi meiosis. Organisms to grow, mitosis ulit to. Allows organism to reproduce asexually. Di ba kapag nagtanim tayo ng kamote, magiging kamote plant ulit siya? So, mitosis ulit to. Ang best answer dito ay letter D. It allows organisms to promote genetic diversity. And last but not the least, we'll go with this item, item 40. Okay. Which of the following is true of cytokinesis? Please type in your answer. It is mitosis in plants. It is a form of apoptosis. It is the longest part of the cell cycle, or letter D. It requires the formation of cell plates in plant cells. So na-mention natin kanina, correct? The best answer here should be letter D. Kapag ang plant cell nagdi-divide siya, kailangan niya ng cell plate. Kapag animal cell ulit, cleavage furrow ang makikita natin. At tandaan natin, ang apoptosis ay tinatawag na programmed cell death. Ganito yan. Okay? Di ba meron kang interface na tinatawag? Tama? Di ba? May interface ka muna bago ka pumasok ng PMAT, bago mag-cytokinesis. Tama? Kapag may error sa pag-grow niya at pag-duplicate ng DNA, dalawa yung pwede niyang puntahan. Okay? Actually, tatlo. Okay? Pwede siya mag-may PMAT. Yun yung number one. Ibig sabihin, tama yung DNA na na-copy. Okay? Pag may mali, maraming mutations, pwede siyang mag-apoptosis. Example nito ay, na-try nyo magpa-araw sa dagat, right? Afterwards, di ba, nagkakaroon ng pinkish coloration yung balat natin, tama? Parang namumula mo yung skin natin. Actually, those are skin cells that are dying or taking suicide. Okay? So, nag-apoptosis sila. Kasi ibig sabihin nun, possibly, dahil sa overexposure with UV light, maraming DNA damage na nag-occur sa cell. So, para hindi na siya mag-cause ng disease. Kasi kapag nag-cell divide ang cell na maraming mutation, pwede siya mag-cause ng formation ng tumor or other disease. Okay? Or pwede siya yung isa pa, paano kapag halimbawa, okay naman yung DNA niya pero hindi niya kailangan mag-divide. Papasok siya sa tinatawag na cell senescence. Essence. Okay? Yung cell senescence ay, ito yung stage na, okay, di ba, may term tayo sa mga, yung mga elderly, di ba? Ay, nagsisenile na siya. So, ibig sabihin nun, parang nagiging inactive siya. Okay? So, buhay yung cell, pero hindi siya nagdi-divide or hindi siya nag-grow. Nandun lang siya. Resting stage siya. So, hindi siya nagdi-divide, so nasa resting stage lang siya. So, pag nag-activate siya, dun pa lang siya pwedeng mag-divide ulit. Or, mag-apoptosis na siya. Okay? So, that ends our review for biomolecules and cell biology. Again, I'm Coach Shard, and thank you for attending this session.